Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I'm Chris Computer. Joining me is Max Hypothesis.
Hello, hello.
Uh, Formerly Overwatch teammates. Now we are casting teammates, and
Yippee!
we're very excited, both of us, to bring you the second semifinal for U of T Overwatch Spring 2025 Intramurals. So this is the second semifinal. Winner of this goes on to the grand final. Very exciting match. Going to be best of 5, first to 3. And we have two very exciting teams that have
Yes,
made
yes,
it to the
yes.
top 4 stage. So first up, we have SR Tariffs. Bit of a sort of topical team name. So that's Angeloxy on the tank, Grumpy Mook on DPS, who also plays for U of T Overwatch Academy, Angad also on DPS, and then Perry and Zapdos bringing up the support duo.
And on the other side, over on the Crazy Panda side, we've got Chiori on the tank, Bearfu on DPS alongside Adam, Nerf Widow or Salasala, if you know him personally, on Flex support, and on main support, we have Miyuki. And yeah, so going into that, we are going to be looking at Busan for our map pick.
Yeah, it's an interesting map. You don't see Busan too often, so you can expect the team's going to be running. I mean, you run like a pretty wide variety of compositions on Busan. It's sort of a weird map. How this is going to play out kind of depends on how familiar the teams are with Busan. I don't know if any of these teams have played Busan yet in Intramurals, but certainly they're both going to be trying their hardest. A pretty high stakes match. Single elimination. Whoever loses this is out of the tournament, or certainly out of the running for grand finals. And grand finals are playing for a prize of $150, generously provided by BMO, to help you focus on what's important. BMO has checking and savings accounts, credit cards, and borrowing options specifically designed for students. Plus, you can get up to 12 months of Domino's Pizza, so that's $190 worth of Domino's Pizza. With BMO's current student offers, visit bmo.com/students for more details on that.
And additionally, we have BMO Next Level, which is their Twitch account, which is twitch.tv/BMO_NXTLVL, live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, run by Sean Frame, BMO's gaming relations specialist. Sean brings a commitment to helping viewers achieve their financial goals and has a passion for gaming as an active member of the gaming community.
Yeah, so gamers in finance, if you want a bit more money for DoorDash while you're queuing Overwatch at 3 a.m, BMO's where to go.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah,
And going into our map, we have our bands now coming out.
yeah.
So for the SR Tariffs, we're having Torb Ram, and on the side of Crazy Pandas, we have Genji Ball. What do we think about that?
It's really interesting. Crazy Pandas are banning Genji. They have a Genji player. Ball, not too surprising. I don't think they have a really strong ball player, and Busan's like a ball map. Genji might be a protect ban to keep Genji available for the
That's
rest of
what
the
I think
series.
too. Yeah, for sure.
I guess if they're not planning to play Genji on Busan, and that way we're going to be able to see Bearfu, be unlocked on the Genji,
Mhm.
guaranteed the whole rest of the way.
The tank bans definitely look targeted towards each other each
Yeah,
other team's tank, because obviously Angeloxia, known for
yeah, of
playing the
course.
ball
Yeah,
and being like not a ball one trick but a ball specialist, and on the other side, Chiori or Ryan, he is
yeah,
partial towards the Ramatra. He is very comfortable on like brawl tanks like
yeah.
Ram and
Just gonna
Junker
use,
Queen.
just gonna use his first name. Eh?
Hey, like we're on a first name basis. I'll
Yeah,
just say everyone's first name on Bear or on Crazy Pandas.
yeah,
But
true.
yeah, going into the Basan though, honestly, those are both really good tanks to ban. Like Ball's really good on the maps that aren't mecha based, and then Ram's pretty good on the maps that aren't downtown. So I'm really interested to see what they end up running here.
Yeah, I mean, really, sky's the limit. We could see some Sigma, we could see Junker Queen, we could see maybe Orisa, maybe Winston. Um,
Hmm.
Probably not something like a Roadhog or a Mauga right now, but yeah, I mean, huge range of compositions for Busan, and certainly with the Wrecking Ball out of the way, that might be throwing a wrench in the plans um, of SR Tariffs, who you'd expect are wanting to go to this map because of the power of the Wrecking Ball here.
My thought is, though, I'm sure that they are quite used to being hit with like the ball ban quite often. I know when my team played, we also banned ball pretty early on. I don't think it was first map,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like they're probably used to it, so they seem to have a plan. They are running a classic Tracer Sombra with a Winston Brig Ana, which is really good on this
Nice,
map.
yeah.
However, they don't really have a dive target. If Team Bearfu or Crazy Pandas are playing correctly, Adam should never really feel the pressure from the dive as long as Miyuki is peeling them correctly.
Yeah,
But let's just see how it goes.
eyes on Adam and Miyuki to see if they can withstand that dive pressure, get that big value with the Sojourn. Right off the bat, we're going to see SR Tariffs rolling up more on the low ground. Jump in from Angeloxia just to staging jump. Bubbles exchanged. Angeloxia falling dangerously low, and that's early space. For the side of Crazy Panda, it looks like they're going to start pushing up Barefoot crushing point a little bit on the Tracer there. But so far, it's SR Tariffs with the early point presence as the point begins to unlock.
Dive did begin here, and we did see both nades come out, and Angeloxia gets picked off by Adam, and Adam gets another one on Grumpy Moon.
Two for Adam. Angad almost takes down Barefoot. Barefoot falling dangerously low. Will just barely manage to avoid being traded out, and that's a clean first fight. Crazy Panda Adam gets a third.
Holy goat. Yeah, that's really quick, and we're really quick already on our Winston ult as well on the side of the Crazy Pandas. They really just need to be playing to posture up, control the tempo, not let Wolf Girl and Zapdos set up on an angle. But now we have Grumpy Mook on the left side looking to pressure out Barefoot.
Grumpy Mook already pressured out, forced to use a lot of those blinks, still does have the recall in hand, setting up, staging behind, but you can see the back line for Crazy Panda. They're just so far away. Grumpy Mook now is beginning to tap point along with Angeloxia, but so hard to find anything here. Jump comes out onto Adam. Will they be able to clean up this kill? It looks like there's a TP Suzu in. Backline in a lot of trouble for Crazy Panda. Will they be able to survive this? It looks like just barely. Nerf Widow, gets anti, just barely manages to survive. Headshot comes out from Adam. And eventually the Curricle will be cleaned up, but so will Grumpy Mook. Trades, of course, favor the team in control here.
Wow. Yeah, no, and they're continuing to push forward here over on the side of Crazy Pandas. They played that really well. However, Adam did roll or slide very early. The side of SR Tariffs didn't really follow up on that, so they actually lose a lot of advantage here. They are going to be having the nano coming out here, but if Angeloxia continues to struggle on getting in on these entries, then it's not really going to matter unless they decide to do a nano overclock here. But it looks like
really punishing this
they're posturing earlier for maybe a kit. Yep.
Yeah, Katsune comes out, pulse a little bit wide, but it will put pressure onto the Brig. Rally comes out in response to the Primal Shuri, taking so much damage. Just barely manages to survive, but has to play life. Angeloxia will not be able to play life. No Primal Rage quite available. Adam gets traded out, but trading Sojourn for tank. You do take that. Nano's still available for Zapdos. They need to find something with this. Nano comes out. Overclock comes out. Nano should not come out yet. I'm lying.
There it is.
Where is the Nano? There is the Nano. Sleep on Chiri is good. Winston taking a lot of damage. No bubble. Will get cleaned up. Grumpy Mook does get traded out, having moved over onto the cast. No, Miyuki as well will fall, though, and it looks like this is going to be going the way of SR Tariff, but that's an expensive fight for them. Double support out plus overclock.
Yeah. Looks like we're flying into oblivion. Server closed due to an unexpected error.
And it appears that the server has crashed.
We're restarting. No. Oh, yikes. Chat's going crazy right now about question marks. Warm-up round is what
just a warm-up
ended up saying. Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to see a little glimpse of what the game's going to be looking like so far. It looks like the side of Crazy Pandas are really good at controlling that tempo. And that's what they need to do if they're going to be running this Kiri Lucio side.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to be winning these fights quickly. It does look like we're getting a switch up from the SR Tariffs. They're changing strategies.
Yeah, I mean, the honor break is kind of hard into the Kiri Lucio on this map. It's so wide, so open. You don't really have many of those like super power position high grounds that your Ana and Brig can control together. And it looks like, actually really big comp switch up. Coming out for SR Tariffs. They're going to be running a double hit scan hazard. So much scarier for Chiori. He's going to really need to, take care of his life.
Yeah, they're going to need to be playing the long fight actually on the side of SR Tariffs to get any value out of this. Because if the side of the Crazy Pandas are able to get an early pick right away or just a clean dive onto someone, then this hazard kind of becomes useless. His rotation doesn't really work.
Yeah, and he's going to struggle a little bit, you know, not being able to have that level 3 perk online. He's going to struggle a little bit to close some of these big distances, but it looks like right now they're just playing for point pressure, playing to, you know, avoid most of those angles. Some angles being set up by Crazy Pandas. Chiori just tapping point, falls dangerously low already. Suzu does come out, but there's Suzu and fall will burn recall from Bearfu as well. And first look goes away of SR Tariffs. Wolf Girl does fall, but it looks like Chiori also will. Got caught a little bit on the jump there.
This is still very winnable though.
Yeah, trades all over the place right now. SR Tariffs, you're just going to be looking to keep control of the point for as long as you can. It's not going to be too much longer though. It looks like as Angeloxia is falling very, very low, out of block shortly, and will fall. So that's going to be about 20% going the way of SR Tariffs. Not bad, but they do lose that first fight. Bearfu and Adam, you know, even after Chiori falls, just putting in so much work, and Chiori looks like he's going to be moving to match that hazard.
Yeah, the issue there was just the DPS on the side of SR Tariffs just didn't make more angles. You know, they took their initial angles, which worked out very well, but you need to start rotating your angle to apply more pressure, and they just didn't do that. They're coming out now here, looking to walk in for a brawl.
Miyuki already falling. Nice shots from Angat on the cast. High Noon comes out. Gonna just plug one into Chiori. Chiori will fall. Trade onto Grumpy Mook by Bearfu. But it looks like it's not going to be enough. Adam is, yeah, going to go down. Bearfu does stay alive, and that's a very quick flip going back the way of SR Tariff.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's almost like they didn't lose that fight. It feels like, oh, but Bearfu is going to be getting a disrespectful pulse bomb onto Angat. That's going to be an opening pick for them. That's exactly what they need to get this point control back.
Yeah, Bearfu again just coming up really big, you know, even off the Genji on the Tracer, still putting big work. Kitsune Rush has come out now for both sides. Chiori, though, going to just be punked. Fall really, really, really early in the piece. Angeloxia also taking a lot of damage, but, you know, comparatively much healthier. Beat does come out from Wolf Girl. Actually, Miyuki doesn't have it quite yet. And that's 60% and nearing 60% on the side of SR Tariff.
Yeah, and we're now looking at like a very opposite outcome of what we saw last time we were on this round. And like they're already looking for more picks off here. Then Adam just goes down. They're just overextended out of their spawn, and they're getting staggered.
Yeah, I mean the comp change seems to have, you know, been paying dividends. You know, this time it's yeah, it's Crazy Panda just not quite comfortable with the matchup early on, and controls such a momentum-based mode. Bearfu going down, and that's going to make the touch really, really difficult for Crazy Panda. I mean, they have 3 ults, but who's going to touch? Yeah,
no, I mean, they do get the pick on Angat here. The thing that really needs to happen is for the Lucio to get to point while this Adam pops off, but not quite. And here comes the hazard. Oh, no one's going to be able to touch the point. Maybe. Oh, never mind. We do get a touch.
Chiori. Miyuki does go down though. Chiori as well.
Trades are just not looking very good on the side of Crazy Pandas here, though. And yeah, that's just going to be the end of that round. What a crazy turnaround for them. That must be really upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be too happy with that if you're Crazy Panda. Yeah, I mean, real momentum shift with that hazard pick. You know, we saw the first time we played the first round of Busan, we saw Angeloxia just getting really, really, really punished on the Winston. Really chunked in the front line very badly. This time, same treatment applied to Chiori, who's going to be going over now to the Junker Queen. So it's Junker Queen Moira Venture. Okay, so we're going to get like a really
deathball comp.
Yeah, Crazy Pandas. You mentioned how the first time we played Sanctuary, they were able to you know, control the tempo, and it looks like they really want to just crank up the pace, keep that tempo going.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, rolling out on these comps, like, this is going to be a lot more brawly than this last time. But the side of Crazy Pandas is going to have a lot better time up in the front line. So they're going to be wanting to take the faster fight here because Grumpy Mook is still on the Sojourn and going to have to take longer fights, charge that rail, take other angles.
They're already taking a fair bit of poke. Angeloxia really in, though. Falls extremely low. Will they be able to survive? TP Suzu comes out, but it looks like that's going to be both the Hazard and the Kiriko falling. Early kills for the side of Crazy Panda. Trade does not come out onto Miyuki. Okay, eventually does go down, survived on a sliver of HP there for a moment, but just the trade on Lucio, you know, not too valuable, and it looks like Angat in a bit of danger of getting staggered out. Will get staggered out. That really hurts.
That's a really good stagger for them, especially to have their Tracer off the board so early. This is going to leave Bearfu nice, wide, and open for the sidelines. They're looking for little poke damages, forcing that attention off of the front line.
Angat over to the cast now.
This will help a little bit with the frontline fight, but the Venture's still going to be more powerful, and also now the Tracer's going to be a lot less contested, not being marked on an angle. We're looking for an axe here. as the fight
Yeah,
begins.
lots and lots of damage onto another knife. Okay, onto Wolfpearl. Wolfpearl gonna follow these double hit scans just grouped up. So vulnerable to the Junker Queen. Angeloxia gonna fall as well, and it looks like, yeah, SR Tariff just really can't quite get a foothold into this Junker Queen composition. They're trying to barrel out front with this double hit scan, but they're just getting, you know, squeezed from all angles. They can't find the space.
Oh, well, let's lag the Globby up again so that they can, you know, VOD review really quickly between the next startup. But looks like they're going to be taking the underside here. I don't know if I like
interesting.
this.
Yeah, I mean, if you thought it was, you know, difficult to walk up high and get stuffed before, but Adam getting caught early by the Cassidy, just going in a little bit too late on the venture there. A little bit uncoordinated Miyuki as well. It looks like in danger of getting caught out, does get caught out. There's the Coalescence out from Selisao. Finding a ton of healing, ton of damage. Will find the pickup onto the Lucio. Shuri dangerously low, does barely manage to survive though. Will go down, trade of tanks. Moira very low HP. Kitsune Rush committed. Okay, SR Tariff think they can win this, but the respawn. Oh my god! A Grumpy Mook hits the shot onto Bear, who takes him down. Miyuki also will fall. Grumpy Mook finds two. And it looks like SR Tariffs, they have managed to clutch this one out. I was not too sure about that Kitsune Rush decision, but I guess it paid dividends.
Well, this fight we're going into it, Miyuki is going to be having the B as well as Chiori with their own Junker Queen ult here. So if I'm the SR Tariffs, I'm playing exactly like this, where I'm having my Sojourn play on the long angle with my ult. The Tracer is going to be touching point here, though, for Crazy Pandas. As the fight,
putting up some pressure. There's the Azeroth does catch onto Adam. There's the Deadeye as well. So many skulls lined up. 2 supports come out. 3 trades. Okay.
They won the fight?
Yeah, I mean, the Rampage just doing so much from Chiori there. We'll clean that up. Just Grumpy Mook alive. Gonna, I guess, just die point. Yeah, and you do get your Sojourn staggered out there a bit for SR Tariff.
Really shows the strength of the Junker Queen ult there with Zapdos using the cleanse to kind of help get... Whoa.
We're seeing a very early retake fight from SR Tariff here. Not sure about this. There's the beat coming out. Adam now, you know, in theory, has this Venture ult unopposed. Grumpy Mook gets caught out with the overclock. Just taken down. Wolfpearl as well. SR Tariff is looking just disjointed. I mean, they do get the flip. That is true.
It's going to be a hard touch for them here at the end, though. I mean, they're coming in no ults now. No ults, and they have Coalescence on the side of Crazy Pandas.
And it looks like Wolfpearl in danger of getting staggered even further.
Looks like they'll
will manage to survive, but...
this Coalescence is really going to be a fight decider for them, I think, though. They maybe are trusting this underside a little too much.
Yeah,
here comes the Venture ult.
Shock is just so deadly. Already the Lucio falls. Already the Cassidy falls. Already the Hazard falls. Adam finds 3 in that last fight. Coalescence from Selisao just icing on top. And that's going to be tying up 1-1, 99 to 71. The score looks pretty close, but you know, don't be deceived. That was decisive from Crazy Panda. Yeah. They were in control there.
I definitely think that there's an issue here where the SR Tariffs don't really understand their win condition. Meanwhile, Crazy Panda are finding it out. They understood it on the first point after kind of like going over it, I guess, in their private VCs after that first round started off. But it doesn't seem like they can see their win condition. When you have that double hit scan, Soldier and Lucio need to go on their own angle and just pressure like everything out. The Lucio is good enough to mark the Tracer and have the Sojourn kind of be free on the side, but when you're not doing that, you're just leaving your Sojourn go by himself. The frontline fight is just so much harder for the side of SR Terrace. They are going to be starting with a Widow here.
We saw Mook with that overclock getting caught out. Now going to be going onto the Widow. Very long sight lines on the map will favor that. Already a headshot coming out onto Chiri, forcing him to take the Mega. Body shot onto the Sombra, threatening Adam's life. Won't quite be able to find the kill. But we're seeing a little bit of the disadvantage of the Widowmaker is, you know, when you're out of her LOS, he isn't doing too much. Hack comes out onto Adam, managed to get cleansed by the... I've never seen that interaction with Teleporter. But it looks like, yeah, just more damage on points. Angeloxia falls. Barefoot does get traded up by Grumpy Mook, but, you know, the pick comes out a little late. Selisao also goes down.
Okay, very interesting.
Barefoot goes over to the Tracer now.
If we're going to be playing the Widow here, we need to be playing for our main LOS. We cannot be taking the fight onto the coast here. We're just not letting her get any use. It looks like there's a bit of a battle going on in the backline here, though.
I mean,
Barefoot
jumps coming
Tracer.
out, a lot of, staging being exchanged, but it's Adam falling early in the piece. Hack onto Celisao as well. Virus does go wide, so the peel is going to be good for Miyuki. Celisao will survive that. Wolf Girl, meanwhile, going down. Shiori battling out with Angeloxia. We do have, it's a 4v4, but Angat in a bit of trouble. Mook just on low ground here. Very vulnerable. Surely will be punished for this. And will indeed. Yeah, I mean, you want to be playing in your Widow LOS, but I don't know if you want your Widow to be playing in everyone else's LOS as such. Sort of a bit of an unorthodox positioning, and we're seeing Grumpy Mook now going over the Sombra. Just not quite finding the value you need on the Widow, but already 50% has elapsed.
Yeah, and I mean, like, honestly, this is kind of the momentum you need if you're on the side of Crazy Pandas here. This is really going to help them. Like, the only thing that's on the side of SR Terrace right now is that Kitsune. But just, like, the Pulse Bomb is going to force that kit out, and you're about to see it right here, I think.
Huge axe from Shiori. So much damage. Pulse Bomb does go wide, but the Kitsune does come out as well as you predicted. Shiori taking so much damage, though. Adam as well, and the Kitsune is money.
Yeah. It's a little difficult there. They definitely did. They definitely wanted to play close there for an early fight, and honestly, this might be worth it because they did get a very important ult out that they would have wanted to get out, but for the side of Crazy Pandas. But they definitely could have forced that kit and like rotated back to the high ground and not have to lose that fight because once
Yeah,
that kit's used in the room, they don't need to fight there.
Yeah, Chiori just really in there. Support ults don't quite come online in time to bail him out. It looks like they're now walking Mega side. Our Crazy Panda Mega going to be stolen, and Chiori falling incredibly low. There comes the Coalescence, primal in response from Angeloxia, and we're just rushing out onto the Sojourn. Angat does receive the Suzu. Adam gets taken down by the primal, but the Suzu comes out. There's the Rampage. Will find the Sojourn, but the beaten response. Enormous ult trade, but it's going the way of SR Terrace. But in the midst of all this, Crazy Panda found the flip.
Yeah, so we're kind of back at square one for SR Tariffs here because of that flip. It's definitely Barefoot going onto the point there. While Grumpy Mook is doing his job and shooting the tank, Barefoot is kind of uncontested on the side there. And they do have EMP
already
now.
almost another Kitsune rush for Zapdos.
If the Crazy Pandas are smart here, they're going to EMP on the enemy engage here. They're not going to EMP their engage so that they can force an ult here. And that's exactly what happens.
Suzu is good onto Angeloxia, but Wolf Girl does get taken down. Adam and Celisao both falling. So Barefoot as well. Sunarish comes out. Pulse Bomb as well from Mook. Seems like maybe an overinvestment in a 4v5 fight, but that said, Shuri can't get out, and Shuri and Miyuki both will die late.
Yeah, and it does look like they're going to get that wave respawn there. And now Crazy Panda's coming in with no ults, and Angad on the Sojourn with the overclock, going to be able to play those angles. If they're smart, they're going to play for Crazy Pandas to walk into their LOS before using the overclock here. They don't want to be overzealous.
Yeah, with Shuri and the Queen, he's going to have a hard time closing the distance onto that Sojourn. It looks like we have Barefoot dragging the Sojourn back to point, though, but already Adam, again, just going down early in the piece. Slide in from Angad, now away from that Tracer on point, but Angad falling very low. Flip comes out again from Barefoot. Shiori in the face of this Sojourn, but taking so much damage. Lucio as well, so much damage coming out from the Sojourn, but no connections! And the Pulse Bomb on the floor from Barefoot will take down the Sojourn. Yeah, just a messy fight, but in the end, the kills just don't quite come through. So many of Crazy Pandas fall so very low. The kills don't quite come through. Barefoot just consistently flipping the control point over.
Just buying more time for his team.
Yeah, in the end, Crazy Pandas, they managed to take that one just with yeah, I mean, everything gets a little bit messy, but it's just the objective pressure from the Tracer really that turns the tides.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, Barefoot dragging the Sojourn to the point because there's no one else to contest him except for the other Tracer. They really had their DPS swap there. Had Angad stayed main and fought like for the overclock, and Mook had gone to contest Barefoot on point, they might have had a better chance of winning that fight. The Tracers are supposed to be 1v1ing. They're supposed to be fighting for a lane. Yeah. If one of them is uncontested, the other one is getting value, or vice versa, or both of them are getting value, or neither of them are getting value. It just depends on the angle that they're playing.
In general, you have to say that when the team that has control the control point that sort of is playing defense,
Hmm.
You really want your tracer to be marking that, and we saw Barefoot getting away unmarked a lot.
Hmm.
And then yeah, like the Sojourn gets pulled to point, and then it gets just a bit like messy, a bit chaotic. And I think we see when the positions have to like evolve and devolve through the mid fight. I think that's where we see SR Tariffs sort of struggling a little, and we saw that on Mecha Base as well, right? Like I'm thinking of that beat overclock fight where Mook just winds up on an island,
Hmm.
dying with overclock. They just kind of get a bit disjointed, get a bit pulled apart. They're not quite sure of where they want to be rotating. Um, yeah, and we saw some like pretty nasty staggering on both
Yeah.
sides that winds up costing both teams a lot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you're playing the double hit scan, it's just always going to be harder to make those rotations happen. It's always going to be more punishing on the hit scan heroes when you get
Hmm.
caught out of position because you don't have blinks or teleports or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that Barefoo's team, the Crazy Panda, sorry, I always get them confused with the Barefoot Hunters. Um, I think that the Crazy Panda team, they have a better sense of the macro and what their goal is in the round in the
Yeah,
fight, and it does get lost mid fight. They don't have a very good sense of what to do after their plan has been like either thwarted or been played out, and there's still more left to do. However, they at least have a semblance of what they need to be doing. Whereas I feel like SR Tariffs are relying very heavily on alt rotation and like individual skill and not
yeah,
thinking so much of what's my job this fight, what's my job in context of their team comp, what's my job in context of the alt economy. And I think that's where Crazy Pandas kind of took over and won the fights, but it was still really close.
yeah. Really, really, really close. And we're seeing already some tendencies here. We're seeing Crazy Pandas, I think, winning out a bit more on the Tracer matchup, winning out on the Winston matchup, um, and certainly, Chiori, no surprise to anyone who knows him, really favoring that Junker Queen, really one of his favorites. Um, Meanwhile, we're seeing SR Tariff, they really want to be running ideally double hit scan. And we saw, hit scan Sombra, we saw Soj Cass, we saw that sort of style.
Hmm.
We saw, yeah, a lot of I mean, we saw, some Cure Lucio from both sides. We saw a bit of Anabrig from SR Tariff. We saw a bit of
Mario Lucio.
Moira Lucio, yeah, which is sort
Yeah.
of a bit, I wouldn't say it's been meta for a while, but it can definitely work in these deathball styles, especially if you're trying to exploit, opponents that are a bit weaker in the macro or that, are a bit maybe
Hmm.
uncomfortable with that really, really high tempo style. If you just want to, throw in a ton of chaos, right? And if you feel like your team can just keep your heads better in the midst of all that.
Yeah. Well, Brawl is just like the
Yeah.
comp to start on if you are like lacking a sort of like if you're lacking a macro sense, the best place to go is a Brawl comp. Dive comps, they ask for a lot of coordination from your team, whereas with the Brawl comp styles, you can play a little more like instead of having like two teams, one playing this side of the map, one playing the other, you've got like one team playing and
Yeah.
then like maybe one person on the off angle,
Yeah. And
which
it's
is what we
easier.
saw a lot of.
Yeah. And it's easier for a strong sort of shock collar to really lead the team. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, certainly.
Yeah. Well, going into the next map, we're going on to New Bonnie, which was the SR Terrace Pig, and
Interesting.
their bans were Tracer Ana on the side of Crazy Pandas, and then Winston
Hmm.
Ash on the side of SR Tariffs. What do you think?
Okay. I was a bit surprised by Nimbani because it is historically a bit of a Winston map. And we saw Chiori, I would say, getting the better of that Winston head to head. But I think it makes sense if you think that SR Turf, they wanted to play a lot of hit scans, which are quite strong on Nimbani, and they wanted to play on a brig. It's a really, really good on a brig map. Um, Already you can see Crazy Panda, they're aware of that, they're banning that. I'm a bit surprised at the Tracer ban. It felt like they were really getting the better of that, but the Winston ban from SR Terra definitely makes sense. They want to force it to more of the like Hazard Diva, maybe Wrecking Ball even.
I think
Ash
I
is
think
interesting as well.
I think the Tracer ban, the reason for it comes across to me as this is a more vertical than horizontal map. This is a hard map to play Tracer on. So where Bearfu was really excelling playing the Tracer, Genji is going to be more useful here. We know that that's something that he plays, and we protect banned last map. So why not protect ban the Tracer since we don't plan on playing it, and then play the Genji this map. The Winston ban might throw a bit of a wrench into their plans, but Chiori we also know is a very good D.Va player. Like he prefers D.Va over the Winston. So the D.Va Genji or even a Zarya Genji type thing, or even Genji goes well with Junker Queen, like that stuff is going to work for them.
Yeah, we're gonna be seeing. I'm not sure. Maybe a Torb, maybe a Cass. Interesting. I think what backline you might be playing now for SR Tariff, because they wanted to play, I think, pretty clearly on a break, but on out of the matchup, maybe you play Juno break, maybe you play like a Kiri Lucio, Juno Kiri.
I think Celisao just loves playing Moira, so I think they're just gonna play Lucio Moira.
Crazy
I really
Panda,
think they're just
Crazy
gonna play
Panda.
that.
I really think like a Lucio Moira, Lucio Kiri. SR Tariff, I'm less certain of what they're going to be playing. That's a bit more in question.
They could run a Mercy thing, like maybe Mercy Curie. That's maybe a little out of the ordinary, but I mean, pocketing Mook or Angad on a hit scan, like Sojourn or something, could be good.
Yeah, and I think you can expect to see. Probably they're not going to be matching Bearfu on like the sort of hard flex DPS heroes. They're probably going to be playing either like double hit scan or maybe like a hit scan plus Torb, maybe a hit scan plus Sombra, something like that. More like a counter dive style. So that's going to be tough for Bearfu to like sink his teeth into. But if he does manage to get that connection, then it's really, really deadly.
What I can also see is like even on the defense for Crazy Pandas, I can see them playing something kind of like that. Like the Genji is probably a no-brainer, but I can definitely see a Torb D.Va. Like Torb D.Va is not fun to play into. If you've been playing any ranked recently, it's not fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, we saw already a bit of the tanks being sort of made to feel a bit sad on Busan, especially on Sanctuary, where it's just so open. But yeah, Numbani, certainly you can see like tanks just getting really, really, really hard punished.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, also, while we're looking at SR Tariffs, their ball is on the playing field now. This is not a bad ball map. They can definitely play it here, especially on attack, which we will see them starting on. Let's see what they roll out on. We'll see it in about 10 seconds. I'm thinking the ball's coming out. It's attack for SR Tariffs. I think it's coming out.
Ball without the Tracer, you have to imagine either they're going to be playing like a ball Sombra, maybe some sort of a flyer like a Pharah or maybe an Echo, although I don't know if we've seen that too much from SR Tariff. It looks like Mook is hovering the Pharah.
Yeah, I see
Junk and Lightweaver being hovered, so I don't know how seriously we want to take that.
Well, okay, but I mean the ball Pharah with the Mercy is not a bad comp on this map, especially when Ana's out of the picture.
And especially into a Sojourn rather than like a Cassidy or an Ashe. Actually, maybe that's why
which Ashe got banned. Yeah, that's probably why they banned it.
I mean, Cassidy has his fall off buff, so he's a much better answer to these Pharah Mercy comps than he used to be.
Yeah. Okay.
But still,
and then,
you do favor the Ashe.
Yeah, and then pretty much what we expected from the side of Crazy Pandas as well with the Genji and the
a bit more of a standard style. We're seeing something quite
very
unconventional. If you're going to be really looking to see if Garhimu can find value on this Pharah, and you're going to be looking to see, if like Zapdos and Angad, it's going to be a bit difficult for them to take space. They're quite vulnerable, but already we can see Angeloxia taking some space, does get booped off, slam onto nothing on point, but a lot of spam coming out from Garhimu, a lot of space being taken early on by this Wrecking Ball and by this spam from the Pharah. Adam already falling to half health, will have to go for that high ground, but there we go, we see Chiori. Tons of pressure onto that Baptiste, will force out the Immortality field, but the Mega's not there, and Shiori just a bit too aggressive. The team not quite, able to go all the way in with him.
Yeah, that's definitely just going to be leading to a bit of a cleanup here unless they're able to find a trade. Zapdos is going to go down to Miyuki, but it is looking like Nerf Widow's low. Nerf Widow going to be taken out as well.
That also does fall. Yeah, and the res out onto the Baptiste. D.Va is back, but Bearfu does get cleaned up in the back line. Churi once again shifting onto this Mercy. Nice boop again from Miyuki. The Mercy of Wolf Girl will in fact go down. Churi going to be going to collect the Mega, and there is a touch now from Chiori will stop the second tick just barely, but already taking so much pressure. Going to need the rest of the team to walk up to help alleviate that, but they're just getting stuffed in the choke by Angeloxia.
Angeloxia looking for the slam here.
Nerfwood moving over to the Moira. And yeah, it looks like that is going to be first point going the way of SR Tariff pretty decisively.
Yeah, they definitely they screwed up. They got cocky, they got greedy. If Chiori had stayed back, oh, looks like they're still gonna. Whoa, Barefoot got Angad on an exit pick, I guess here. They're gonna be holding this corner now, but Chiori needs to be playing more patient for this to work, for this comp to work. Diva's a little bit slow here, and works to catch out the Pharah when trying to follow up on a ball slam.
Yeah, you can sort of understand the logic, trying to really punish that Baptiste, but ultimately you just, with the Immortality Field, not quite able to make it work. Barefoot now coming out with the Blade will find Angad in response to that window, will find Zapdos as well. Rez comes out onto Angad, but it looks like the damage has been done. Grumpy move already falling extremely low. Overclock now coming out from Angad. Beat in response from Miyuki. We're seeing lots of ults committed into this fight. So far it's, a 5v5 really. On both sides, or no, I believe 4v5. Zapdos is only now getting back, but it's ultimately the space winds up going the way of SR Tariff, and Grumpy move with a big position will fall very low, gets cleaned up by Miyuki. Barefoot finds Zapdos. Mines come out from Angeloxia, but they don't seem to find much of anything. Maybe a trade onto Adam.
That was a really expensive fight, like for both teams. Both teams used like a ton of ults. The mines came out. 5. Yeah, they use everything. Yeah, they are doing a little bit of a swap over. They're off the ball, so we forced them off of the comfort here. Everything else is staying though. It's gonna be a big waiting game.
I mean, the Mercy Pharaoh without the ball, I don't know how much how good you feel about that. Barefoot looks like setting up for a really big flank. Adam's just a bit alone in the back there, already forced to shift up. Does have ult online, but meanwhile it's Nerf Widow going for the back line. Just really aggressive push with that Coalescence, will get traded out in the end, but trading more of 3 kills, you do take that all. It does mean that yeah, without the Moira, without that healing, Crazy Panda, they might have to give up a bit of space. They do still have this overclock in hand. No ults coming up online soon.
Yeah, they're playing this just as they need to now. Now that they're off of the ball, Crazy Panda needs to be playing to like set their own tempo, because there's no speed on the side of the SR Tariff. So they're going backline, especially when they were on that map, but they are swapping off now. Let's see if they go for the Sojourn instead.
Zapdos on a Moira. Barefoot, big damage coming in from that dash. Really aggressive slide from Adam, will get punished. Trades for the Mercy, but Chiori meanwhile has lost mech in all of this, and that aggressive push with the overclock just doesn't quite find the value it needs to the side of Crazy Panda.
Yeah, that Moira really set a coil into the plans of the Crazy Panda. They were definitely thinking like, oh, we just need to outpace them, especially when they were on the BAP. It's a free dive part.
Wait.
What?
I'm Barefoot somehow finding 2 trades, only one of those able to be resurrected. Nerf Widow also alive in the back finds the Echo. I don't know what I'm seeing.
Now Crazy Pandas are coming back with 3 of them.
Just a menace in the backline. Chiori all over this Sojourn, will clean up that kill. Yeah, I mean, really, the Hong Kong duo on Crazy Panda just turning water to wine, bread to fish, just,
Yeah, no, they played that very interestingly. Most teams thinking, I mean, I thought the fight was over, but now SR Tariffs are going to be coming in with Valk, Ramalt, Sojalt, but they are going into a Blade and a Beat.
Wait, Chiori doesn't quite notice the rotation in time, takes a big chunk of damage. Barefoot, meanwhile, up in the face of the Sojourn, putting a lot of pressure. The Ram will drop onto the ground, but already using that Nemesis form so early. Sojourn from Angad forced to use both slides, and the Annihilation from Angeloxia, not finding too much, will find Chiori, force the bomb to come out, force the beat as well. Copy is invested as well. Coalescence, so many ults coming online, no kills yet to be found on either side. And it looks like it's Crazy Panda backing up. They do still have this Blade online for Barefoot. He will pull it now. Nerf Widow has already gone down. There's the trade off to Angad. Big damage coming out from this Ram. Ram will fall down. Barefoot somehow staying alive. Finds 3, even on 10 health. with the Moira out of the fight.
Does he have the life steal? I think he has the life steal on because
he
that was like a lot of healing that he
And
was getting while he was
You
splating.
spend copy annihilate. You spend 5 ults a
Spent all
game.
5. Yeah, all 5.
But
So did Crazy Panda here. So it is a little bit of an even trade in that moment.
They will have the touch here. Looks like they're gonna be able to get all 5 in time.
Bearfoo's on the Bastion.
They get falling so early. Really scary. Barefoo on the Bastion now, going to be putting so much pressure into that front line. Chiori cleaning up this back line. Sojourn will not be able to escape, nor will Zapdos. Adam in melee range of the Moira for whatever reason, I suppose. And yeah, that's a pretty good hold, especially considering the way that first point went. That's a really good hold for Crazy Panda.
For sure. Yeah, they definitely adjusted. They saw their win condition. That first point is very different from how you hold that second point.
Yeah.
The first point, Chiori just like a little bit too aggressive onto the Baptiste. Usually that works on points like the second point where your win condition is to trade the backline. But in moments like the first point where it's a lot of verticality, you want to be playing for that high ground advantage, make them do those rotations and let the ball go in for a slam. Either you go for the ball and pressure the ball out, or in the case that we do have a Pharah, the Genji and the Diva can look at the pharmacy while everyone is living the ball dive. Because if Diva's DMing the pharmacy spam, the ball usually won't get enough value off of his slam. So
yeah,
if they had played the fight like that, it might have worked a little better.
Yeah, I think we saw just Crazy Panda, I think, taken a bit off guard by the Fairy Mercy, just not quite expecting it. I mean, you have to assume they didn't expect it, given that they roll out on Sojourn rather than on Cassidy.
Yeah.
And yeah, just without that consistent hit scan pressure to mark the Pharah, I mean, you do have Diva, but you know, it's a bit tough when we just saw so much pressure from that spam coming out onto their high ground, combined with the Wrecking Ball. You know, they're just forced to lose a bunch of space. So much pressure onto their backline. Yeah, just throwing a bit for a loop there. But really, after that first fight, Crazy Panda just quite in control and really coming out on top in a lot of these big ult fights. As our Tariff, yeah, just like struggling to convert on these big ult turns.
Yeah, for sure. And now we're coming out and we're seeing a rotation from under for them. They are on the Lucio Moira with the Venture instead this time. We have Barefoo playing main, spamming the turret. We do see the Torb that we talked about earlier as well on the side of SR Tariffs.
Brig Torb, they really want to make Barefoo have a hard time, but there's so much rush on the side of Crazy Panda. Wolf Curl already will get caught. Barefoo going for more. Does manage to find that Torbjorn, does barely manage to survive 14 HP. Chiori will, with Elbow Adam, clean up that Baptiste, and that's going to be an even faster first point for the side of Crazy Panda. Normally, you think Nimbani first point is really hard to attack. It's looking like for both these teams, it's really hard to defend.
Yeah, and I mean, like on the ball comp, honestly, I give them a little bit of credit. The ball comp is really hard to defend with, and I think that they might have been better off if they had tried to play a Winston, well, Winston's banned, a Diva comp maybe.
Okay, Chiori does have Rock there, does manage to survive. Angeloxia just getting pounded by his Venture.
Angel's coming in from main a lot, which is like getting him punished a lot. He's not looking for these off-angle engages on the ball, and it's really difficult for them to get value with the ball slam.
Well, Adam does manage to get out there. Barefoo taking aggressive staging on the Mega, but Celesau already has this Coalescence. They're going to go with it right away. Immortality Field comes out, but it's not enough. Already 2 falling, 3 falling. Yeah, just getting that first ult turn with the Coalescence, recognizing we have this, they have nothing to answer it with. They do trade the Lucio, but it looks like Angeloxia in real danger of getting staggered out late here.
Oh yeah, he's gone, I think. Oh, maybe not. Nope, Barefoo got him. But we do have Grumpy Mook in the spawn. Honestly, at this point, it's probably worth just ignoring Grumpy Mook and going to go fight the front line. But
looks like Barefoo wants
to fight. He wants the smoke.
Yeah, meanwhile, it's I mean, it's a bit of a 3v4.
Just doesn't happen.
And okay, just like that.
All right. You know what? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, SR Tariff, they had a strong start, but then really after that, first point of their attack, just yeah, I mean, they get their curveball, they get the sort of surprise value with that.
They don't really know how to continue. Here we're gonna see. Yeah, there's the life steal coming out just a little bit.
So much value from that blade.
Wow. Yeah, no,
hard,
that was
right.
That was hard.
No defensive support ults to answer the blade. I mean, the Bap Mercy just really tough.
Yeah, I'm seeing like the side of Crazy Pandas are doing so well at adapting. Like they're
Yeah.
having like an issue at the start of the map, and then right away, like instantly,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, this is what we're doing. They just need to see their comp first. If they were
Yeah.
stream sniping, they saw the comp, they'd be like, okay, yeah, and they would be rolling right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that Nimbani attack just once they figure out that it's the ball fair, I'm really surprised to see SR Tariff still trying to play the ball fair on defense.
Yeah,
That
I think it
was
works okay, but
yeah.
they struggle. They struggle to do it on attack, where it's like that's kind of where it's born. That's where
Yeah.
you do it. But on
And they're
the
just not switching
defense,
it up.
yeah, they're not switching
I
it
mean,
up.
they
They're
they
not
made a
hitting them
swap
in
eventually, like
rotations.
late on, but then they're swapping to like Echo Ram Moira Mercy,
Yeah, and it
which
just
like
doesn't
what
work for
is
the
that?
map. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just doesn't work for the map. We need
Yeah.
characters with verticality, right? And the ball works for that, but they need to be playing for their win condition, which is getting them in rotations, hitting them in
Yeah.
spots where the Pharah can spam. But they're just not really playing for it.
Yeah, I mean they have their plan and then it looks like, Crazy Panda they just adapt to the plan, they figure it out. And then yeah, once things get messy, once things get confusing and you have to sort of make counter swaps and kind of adapt on the fly,
Mhm.
it's was it Mike Tyson? Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, right? And it looks
Literally.
like SR Tariffs, they're throwing a hell of a good first punch.
Mhm.
But after that, when they get punched back, Crazy Panda just once it gets into that sort of chaotic, messy adaption and reaction counter swap phase, just
Mhm.
their sort of second plan and third plan and their ability to
Yeah.
just roll with it and think on their feet. Yeah, they just
Mhm.
look more comfortable.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle for SR Terrace. I don't think it's unwinnable because like these fights, maybe that not that last round, but the first round of Numbani and every round
Yeah,
of our first map,
really close.
they were all quite close. They all worked like they were doing well on Busan, but they and like you said, like they're not adapting correctly. Previously I had said like they don't know their jobs and what they want to do in the comp, which is like still ringing kind of true here. If they just take a moment and just like they have a moment of introspection to like,
Yeah,
all right, this is
yeah,
what we're supposed to do. Like then I think they'll honestly do fine because individually they're doing well for them.
yeah. They are, and we're seeing a lot of good plays coming out individually from all the players on SR Tariff. They definitely, they definitely have the player strength to be able to win this match. Very competitive. Numbani, I think it is just a bit of a yeah, just that
Maybe a hero pool issue.
I don't know if it's even hero pool. I think it's just compositional decisions. I think there just wasn't
Mhm.
someone in the server once that first comp on the attack wasn't working. Like it took so long for them to swap it up, and the comp they swapped to just sort of doesn't really make sense.
Mhm.
But I think
And
third map we're going to, I believe, Flashpoint,
Yeah,
and
and Flashpoints is gonna
yeah, that's
look
for all
pretty
the
good here
marbles.
for them. Yeah, it's I think the SR Tariffs are gonna do a lot better on Flashpoint with the brawl. Going on to Suravasa, actually.
Servasa. Okay,
Yeah,
Servasa. If you want to play the ball, Servasa is a really good ball map, much better than New Junk.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah, we definitely see. They have the Ana online as well if they want to play like a Lucio Ana style. Try and do a bit of a. I mean, I know Crazy Panda are the ones with the Crazy Raccoon themed, Crazy Raccoon themed logo, but it looks like a lot of the heroes that SR Tariff are playing, they might have a Crazy Raccoon comp up their sleeves. On Servasa, certainly, yeah, you can play the ball, you can play the Hazard, you can play Ram. Probably expect to see the Junker Queen or maybe Diva. Or
I
Fury.
definitely, if it doesn't get banned from SR Tariffs, then I definitely expect the Kiri Farah. Or not the Kiri Farah, sorry, the Junker Queen. I just read the Crazy Pandas bans, which are Kiri Farah, but we're still waiting on the side of SR Tariffs bans.
Fury Farah.
Yeah, what do we
so
think about that?
I think the Farah being out of the way. I mean, it is a pretty good Farah map, but it's not nearly as good as Nimbani. I think the double hit scan or hit scan Sombra or hit scan Forb can also work really, really well. So I'm SR Tariff. I mean, the Curie out of the equation does make it pretty hard. Though I think if they can play the Lucio Ana, or maybe a Juno Ana, you know, it's a very difficult support comp. It's very demanding. Supports their ability to live, especially in play life. You really need your Ana to be on the ball to keep yourself alive without the peel from a Brig. Yeah, I don't think they can get away with unless they can ban Lucio. I don't think the Lucio bans come out. Then maybe
no, it hasn't. They could
force
ban
it to
Lucio.
a Juno matchup, or maybe they because I don't think they want to take the Lucio Warrior. I really think they want to avoid that. I think that's just playing into what Crazy Pandas are comfortable with. But they could maybe play the Lucio Ana. They could maybe force it to a Juno matchup. I don't think you play the Ana Brig into a Lucio Kyrie or Lucio Moira. But I think like a Ball Soj Torb could definitely
we got our bans for the other side for SR Tariffs. The SR Tariffs ban are Venture and Lucio, so you called it on the Lucio ban.
Yes, we're going to be seeing a Juno matchup. We haven't seen either team play Juno so far. Both of them really favoring the Lucio.
I have a feeling that Wolf Girl might be a little more comfortable because they did swap to the Mercy at one point as well. And I just find that people who are willing to swap off of the Lucio are going to be more likely to be comfortable on the Juno as well. Maybe we even see one of those Mauga comps.
I mean, Mauga, he's been very heavily nerfed, but it does look like Angeloxia is hovering the Mauga. You really don't know how you feel about that. I mean, the recent patch, like Mauga got extraordinarily heavily nerfed. You know, most importantly, his shout no longer provides any benefits to his teammates, which really was, you know, that shout was one of the big abilities that made that Mauga Deathball comp so powerful, especially in these big ult exchanges. The ability to just live everything.
We're also seeing a Brig Moira
are going to come out. Brig Moira's interesting. So I guess there's not really a Juno on the side of Crazy Panda.
No speed on the Zarya. It looks like they're going to be doing a lot of pocketing on Bearfu with the packs and the bubbles.
That's a really weird comp.
Yeah, it looks like SR Tariffs are going to want to be playing to play faster than them. They did already use the speed ring in an odd spot though.
Yeah, just taking this sort of long rotation outside. Stomp comes in from Angeloxia. Big value, does get the bubble onto Adam, but Adam will still fall. Bubble onto Miyuki as well, but Miyuki in a ton of trouble. Wolfpool does get traded out. But it is going to be, just that fast engage from the Mauga comp. I mean, no speed, nothing to really help your Zarya or your Brig get out. Adam already swapping off the Torb onto the Reaper. I don't know about that. I kind of like the Torb, the Mauga comp, at least provided you have some speed. But then Miyuki going to be going over to Juno.
Yeah, it was a bit of a fumble there to be running the Brig instead of the Juno there. I think Zarya is one of the tanks that is really in need of the speed most of the time, and I think it's going to help a lot more that we have two bubble targets as well. Looks like they're already engaging though, and Nerf Widow's getting down.
Yeah, Nerf Widow just already falling Miyuki as well in a ton of trouble. This backline from Crazy Panda just really struggling to live these Mauga engages.
Yeah, I think that we have seen another moment where SR Tariffs have found their gimmick for the map. We just need to see if they're able to keep it. We need to see if the Crazy Pandas are going to be able to make an answer for it. They've seen the comp. We're swapped onto the Junker Queen now and the Juno, so let's see if they have the answer now.
Yeah, they're going to need to find a touch. Will they be able to? It looks like they will not. Nano does come out onto Angeloxia. Reaper of Angad falls very low, will get cleaned up. Bearfu, big deflect into the face of that Mauga, deflecting so much damage. Mauga will shift away. I mean, you do get the cap. You're gonna kind of want that nano back if you're SR Tariff.
Yeah, and I mean, now going into the next fight, we're gonna have the blade on the side of Crazy Pandas. We're gonna have the other blade, the Beyblade, on the side of Crazy Pandas. And they're coming into this with a bit better of an ult economy. We're also already starting to tie up the Juno ults, which shows just how much value Miyuki's getting now off of the swap.
Yeah, Wolf Girl just not able to get too much healing in because the fights are going so fast. Angad gets shut down incredibly quickly, just going really early with that Death Blossom. Does not find the value that you want out of that. Bearfoot does get traded up, and Angeloxia going down. Overclock comes out from Grumpy Mook trying to clutch it up, but the Ana is in so much trouble. Zapdos will fall. Grumpy Mook finds one, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. The flip has already gone the way of Crazy Panda, and they will clean up that Overclock.
That's 2 ults already on the side
double
of
DPS
SR
ult for
Tariffs that
nothing.
fight. Yeah, for literally nothing. We are coming up on the Juno
Oh.
ult though, the orbital ray. The thing that they need to do on the side of Crazy Pandas to win this next fight against the orbital ray is to kite it with the speed ring and re-engage with coalescence.
Or, honestly, they might just go for it with the rampage. That's exactly what they do. Rampage comes out, catches all 5, forces the wraith from Angad, and that's going to be an incredibly quick fight win for Crazy Panda. Rampage comes out and just cleans house.
Okay, but now they do actually need to kite it, or they can match the Juno ult, but it's going to be more value if they do kite it. Yeah.
Adam, thinking about an aggressive TP, thinks better of it. Barefu, early deflect. It looks like they're holding up, trying to make this touch difficult. Rage Axe from Wolf Girl. Barefu does get cleaned up. Adam with the Death Blossom. Nice sleep from Zapdos, but Zapdos is living on only a sliver of HP. Angeloxia decides to commit the cage. 2v1 here will fall.
Maybe a little bit of an overinvestment from Adam, but I mean, in the end, you're quite happy with that. You get the Rage Axe and the Mauga ult. Otherwise, I'd be chewing Adam out of it here because like that Death Blossom wasn't quite necessary. But I mean, honestly, like for the cage, I'm happy about it. If I'm
I mean, SR Tariff, they're just throwing good ults after bad.
Yeah.
Like just consistently committing ults in fights that are already unwinnable. You really can't be doing that and expect to win on Flashpoint, especially at such a, ult economy mode. There's the Ray exchange coming out, or no, sorry, just the Ray from Miyuki, no Ray in responsibility for SR Tariffs, and they're going to trade out the Moira, trade out the Junker Queen as well, actually. So it is winnable for SR Tariff. Barefu dealing with Angad. Looks like the Reaper is finding somewhat the better of that. Adam does get cleaned up. Angeloxia, who is so very low, does get cleaned up by Barefu. Barefu will get Angad in the end as well.
That fight was almost really good for the side of SR Tariffs. Oh, they're back. They're still fighting. Hello?
Still fighting this? I don't know about that. Yeah, Grumpy Mook and Wolf Girl just going to stagger themselves out. That's...
I don't know about you. That looks like mental boom to me.
Just on these retakes. After they start losing a fight, the discipline is just not there for SR Tariff.
Yeah. They almost win that fight. They get a lot of value out of it, but now they're going into this with the support all down, and the Coalescence comes out from Nerf Widow.
Big Nate Shuri falls very low, but able to survive. Shout and Coalescence will clean them up, and yeah, that fight started 3v5. SR Tariff, really, they've, struggled to... I mean, they've gotten like kind of 2 fights, but they've gotten like 1 fight and then like 2 or 3, staggered scraps. And Crazy Panda just able to ult cycle. Just, this is what, 3 fights in a row. No, almost 3 fights in a row that they've been able to win with just 1 ult.
This is coming in with the 2 DPS ults and the cage back online for the side of SR Tariffs, but
they need to win this.
They need to win this fight if they want to regain their momentum here. They might not even get to point the anti-deflection.
And then it gets reflected, Wolf Girl falls, and that is going to be curtains on this point for SR Tariff. The silver lining is that they managed to avoid investing any more ults, but Crazy Panda saved their ults as well.
Yeah, we're coming up to about an even ult advantage. It's going to be a little slightly towards the side of SR Tariffs, but that Nano hasn't really been doing much for them as of late, so I don't know how much of a difference it would make if it was...
and such a huge deflect from Barefu. I mean, he's so annoying about that to play Ana into when he's on Genji. Always just deflecting nades. You really have to watch out for it. But yeah, SR Tariffs, we've seen historically them, losing out when it comes to these big ult trades, and really, they're down 2-1 on the flashpoint. They need a fight win here. There's the big ult exchange. Death Blossom is traded. Angad finds more. Barefu, though, with the blade, hacking and slashing away, and eventually, even though Angad's Death Blossom early on comes up with the value, Barefu with the blade will clean that up.
There's this big issue that the SR Tariffs are doing right now, and that is they're not playing for Mook's LOS. They are playing to take their own fights. They're starting right away again. Like, Mook's dead.
Still going. Churi, okay. Almost Ajaxes the Rampage. Does get it off. Hits Anti onto 3. Dies shortly after, but eventually that Anti will get cleaned up into a kill. Nanoboost comes out from Zapdos onto Angeloxia to no avail. Point only now getting flipped. So we've seen, sort of 1 very extended fight. 4 ults committed for the side of the Crazy Panda. 3 to the side of SR Tariff. Now coming into this Juno Ray mirror. Mook with the overclock does get slept. Looks like Angad, just shifting out there. Adam shifting out later as well. And if you're SR Tariff, you're looking to go with the Juno ult about now.
And here comes the overclock going over. The Juno does come out, but Mook is just raining bullets down on them. Shiori gets the trade onto Zapdos, but it looks like it's going to be going to the Tariffs in the end unless Bearfu and Shiori can make something happen here. But I don't think they do.
And that's what you need, right? If you're running the Sojourn instead of the Genji, you get your Sojourn onto an angle where they're able to be uncontested by the Genji, and you see Mook just farms.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before. They're not playing for Mook's angle. They're playing too aggressive. They need to be playing to let the tempo, like they need to be setting their own tempo and disengaging when getting run on to give Mook that awesome LOS.
Big ult advantage for SR Tariff now. Really big trade to be able to win a Ray fight without matching, only using that Sojourn. Looks like they're going to be going for a push on the backline with this Mario Angeloxia. Shove comes out early. There's the Ray. No ult to respond. On the side of Crazy Panda, a lot of damage, a lot of them falling very low, and eventually the supports will get cleaned up. Juno, giving them the slip, that does manage to survive. Wait,
they got a flip though, yeah.
How did that?
I think that to win this next fight, they're going to go for a fast fight, and I think that Crazy Pandas might know that. I just don't know what they will do to response here, because this is really smart. Going for the cage early with the Reaper ult. Here it comes.
Deflect is big from Barefoot, but the nade is even bigger. Yeah, that'll clean up 3. Looks like that is going to be this flashpoint going the way of SR Tariff. If you're Crazy Panda, the silver lining is that you haven't spent an ult since that Juno Ray. Yeah, the fact that they got the flip in that previous fight does mean that SR Tariff, they are kind of forced to spend ults to secure it. Whereas if the flip hadn't gone through, then already by the end of the previous fight where SR Tariff used Ray, they would have been up to about 90% and would have been almost impossible for Crazy Panda to touch.
And it shows how much more value it would be if they played for Grumpy Mook's LOS. And because they have been having to use these ults just to secure the point rather than being able to save them for this next fight, where all they're coming into it with is a Nano against a Blade, Cole, and Reaper ult.
And you're seeing the Cole coming out to open from Nerf Widow. Blade as well is pulled, deflects the sleep, finds the kill onto the Moira. Adam does fall, but Grumpy Mook will be traded out and answer. Angeloxia soon to follow, and it looks like that is, yeah, I mean, just alt economy in favor of Crazy Panda. They spend 2, 2 for 0, but you get first flip, you get a very decisive fight win.
And you have GQ ult.
Yeah, and the ult state is still quite good for Crazy Panda.
It's just another issue where we're not playing for Grumpy Mook, and that leads to ult disadvantages and fight losses. We are going to be seeing the overclock Nano here, and likely going on to Mook here, who does already have 100 charge. He does expend it.
There's the Rampage. Catches onto 4. Mook, only one not caught, but, forced to slide in. Straight onto Miyuki. Nano comes out onto the Mauga in all this. Oh, you're really going to want that one back, as they're staggering out Angeloxia as well.
There's the issue again. We went for this close range fight when we have the Sojourn into the Genji Reaper. We just keep making the same mistake. We need to be setting up our Sojourn on an angle if we're on the SR Tariffs team here.
You have Nano OC. Surely you play for that, but
no. But they play to fight close, and then now Crazy Pandas is against
Fury. Just so much. Adam not finding a final blow with that Death Blossom, but so much damage. Grumpy Mook still has not been able to pull this overclock. Crazy Panda. Yeah, they've been consistently doing this when they're, almost capping out the point, just pushing up really, really aggressively. And at the end of a close flashpoint, just in the end, Crazy Panda, yeah, just the better ult macro, the better sort of positional understanding of how to play to the strengths of their comp, will even win 3 close maps, three quite close maps. Nambani maybe a little less so, but yeah, three pretty close maps. But on the whole, Crazy Panda just consistently better on the macro. And
they're adaptive.
Yeah, as they say, there's no such thing as a close 3-0.
Yeah, the Crazy Pandas, they're just very adaptive. They just knew, they started each map kind of slow and losing the initial few fights, but I mean, immediately they're like, okay, well, that's their win condition. We're just going to change our win condition to counter theirs, and that's how it worked. It worked.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing comforts as well. Like, they're playing for this. I mean, they kind of get like a good natural synergy existing between, Fiori and Bearfu and Celesao, that they want to be playing this Moira, Queen, Genji rush style, which really advantages both the fact that they have this strong macro understanding of how to play this push and pull and how to really set tempo, And also just like mechanically, individually, they're all playing heroes that they're really comfortable on. They're all playing sort of to their strengths individually as players. Whereas we see SR Tariffs as well, trying to play to their strengths, trying to play to stuff like that, Fair and Mercy, trying to maybe set up an on a brig situation, although they don't quite get it. The Ana Juno, or it doesn't quite work out. Trying to play to the Wrecking Ball. But yeah, Crazy Panda's really smart decisions in the draft to continually set up like advantaged hero pools where it feels like the comps they have access to that are good for them just beat the SR Tariff comps that they want to be playing.
Yeah. And I mean, like, also they just, with that positional advantage, they knew they could take these aggro fights in the close range, right? Like, especially on that last map, like we were talking about. If you're going to play the Sojourn, you got to play for the positioning of it. That's just the idea of a Sojourn comp. You're playing around the positioning, and they just weren't playing smart enough for it.
Yeah.
And, Crazy Pandas, they took advantage of that. They took advantage of all these close fights that were being provided on Genji Reaper. Like, if we're setting up a Sojourn on, like, the other side of the map, like, the Genji Reaper need to close the distance. But when you're closing the distance for them, it puts the SR Tariffs in such a hard position and gives Crazy Pandas just the best opportunity to go in. They realized that like Mook was uncontested, and they both made efforts and also capitalized on the lack of effort from the SR Tariffs to win those fights.
Yeah, just really good stuff. And when we saw like good individual moments, we saw, Mook coming up big a lot of the time when he has that space to work with. We saw, we saw tons of big plays from Crazy Panda. Shiori with the rampage every time, hitting like 4 or 5 players.
Like 4 or 5, yeah.
Bearfu with the blade every time. It feels like it's a fight win. Salasao consistently really setting pace tremendously with that coalescence. Making Moira look like it's maybe meta even.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like we saw good plays from SR Tariff as well. It feels like they do have a good sense of like how to push. It's just like
they have good tempo.
It's just that if they're going to be playing that style, it feels like you'd want to maybe be on something more like Mook on, maybe like a Sombra or a Venture was banned, but maybe a Sombra like an Echo or like something that can brawl, right? Something that can join in that rush.
Exactly.
They're not really playing for the Sojourn comp, but
all right, yeah. Well, we'll go to our 5-minute break before our interview with Crazy Pandas Adam. We're going to pick his brain a little bit, see how the Crazy Pandas adapted to everything, and we will be right back.
Hello, hello. We are back. We are back with Adam, in fact, from Crazy Panda. Just come back from, pretty decisive victory 3-0 against SR Tariff. Crazy Panda will be advancing now to the grand finals of the Overwatch Intramurals, competing for that $150 prize provided by BMO. And yeah, Adam, that was an intense match. Felt pretty close at points there. Both Busan and Servasa went, pretty close to the wire. But in the end, it did feel like Crazy Panda sort of had the edge throughout the series. How did it feel on your end?
Well, it's been a while since we've played a match. So I personally, I was kind of a bit nervous. I think at the moment we got into lobby, I had my goat Barefoot, shot calling, bringing morale up, and we started winning. I felt good, and it never felt although the matches were close, it never really felt like we were gonna lose, if that makes sense. I feel like we just had that mentality that, oh, okay, we're just gonna win this. We're just trolling for fun. Happens.
Just trolling. Wow, those are some fighting words. We saw you guys do a lot of adaptations. Who do you think is the kind of catalyst to be like, hey, this is what they're doing, this is what we're gonna do now?
I think I think it's a mix of us. It's me, Barefoot, and Chiori. I feel like we have a general idea of what we want to do. Starter map, right? For Busan, we wanted to play that monkey dive with a social tracer. And, the moment we saw Hazard, the Hazard cast Soj, we immediately swapped because we figured out it wasn't working. So we just played counters, played comfort, and
Any of the comps feel particularly scary? The ball Pharaoh sort of had you guys going for a little bit there, but
at first, yeah, I think after that the fast cap, a little nervous. We got cut a little bit, but we stabilized pretty well. My supports are crazy.
Yeah,
from keep us up. I got carried by my tank DPS, so thank you.
Well, I mean, I both me and Max are talking. We thought you did we thought you did really quite good. I mean, as a team individually, but yeah, I mean, if we want to talk about your supports, especially Celisao on the Moira, just consistently so much value with the Coalescence, and we really thought that you guys just had such high tempo style, right? And it's who would you what do you think it is that lets your team really come out on top when these fights get really messy, really hectic, and especially when you're just going so fast with the Coal, the Blade, the Rampage, so
on? So usually we have a fight plan, we just kind of go for, and if that doesn't work, somehow I'll be honest, it's not really anything special about it. My Genji clutches or my tank clutches. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, it worked.
It works. It works.
A little bit of a reliance.
Yes. But also we keep clear comms. We're always talking, or we calling shots. We want to focus. I feel we all trust each other pretty well. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I mean, also we saw kind of the difference in comps, and you guys were playing the double flex DPS, especially at the end there. You were on the Venture and Barefoot was on the Genji, but you guys were playing into the Sojourn, and we were talking about how You guys always played those close quarter battles. You knew where to stand, you knew not where to stand, so you don't get into Grumpy Mook's LOS and give him a way to shoot you guys down on the Sojourn and force him into close corners. Who do you think is the catalyst for like telling you where to play? And like, do you guys feel like that was everyone, or were you guys like going into every fight like, oh yeah, they're on hit scan, let's play close?
I think we're just kind of like waiting for like an opportunity. Like we wait for like an Ana to like pop cooldown, and we go fast, or we just want a push fight with Coalescence because Celso has Coalescence every fight somehow.
Goat.
My goat support. But I think it's just really just like, I don't know, like an awareness thing. Like I feel like we all like know like how we want to play, how fast we want to play. Because like earlier on in the season, we kind of struggled with like finding like our like comp, and I think it was like week 3 or something. We started playing this like faster style, and it just like felt right, felt natural, and we've just kept like Steve like going face first, you know?
Yeah, just brawling.
Yeah, just perma brawl. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just pretty decisive showing. Yeah, looking forward to meeting you guys in grand finals.
The finals, yeah, it'll be fun. Fun rematch.
Yeah, I mean, on the whole, you know, we're gonna be thinking about, you know, the teams have already decided who they feel was the MVP from the other teams. Do you have a prediction of who, you know, provided if we assume, you know, a hypothetical where your team wins grand finals, who do you think is going to be winning the MVP for that match? You know, who do you think's the biggest carry on your team?
I mean, like this guy gets like perma glaze. Like this guy like has gotten like MVP every game, but I think it's Barefoot. Like Chiori, this guy like he like clutches like random fights out of nowhere.
Yeah,
guy's crazy. But like Barefoot like is like always just like fighting too somehow.
Yeah, on that Numbani like second point, where just somehow he and Celisao in the back line managed to trade like 3 players.
Crazy.
Yes, I have Celisao in like enemy back line getting a trade when we're all dead somehow. Yeah. My team's just crazy. I'm just happy to play with everyone.
Yeah, you know, I thought Barefoot consistently really strong player. I thought Chiori also like had a crazy series, especially on the Dark Queen. Like I can't recall a single rampage that got less than 4 people.
This guy like the promo like value rampages, I swear. Like that like Busan fight we lost with that Hazard ulti, and he just like hits like a 5 or 4 man rampage, and like everything dies. I know. Yeah. I don't know how they do it. They're too good for me.
Well, you definitely contributed like a ton that game really too. Like we did actually like when we were talking just privately.
I'm just
Adam did really well today, and
it's a team effort, you know.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Oh well, that will be the end of our interview. We did kind of glaze over it a little bit, but me and Chris we're partial to Chiori for this game, although we do love Barefoot with all of our hearts. You know, ex-teammate of mine and his. Size, yeah, I gotta keep him in check.
Keep him humble. Yeah.
He just dropped his previous clip dump. You know, he's feeling up. But yeah, no. So thank you very much for coming on. Great job today. GG is very fun to cast.
Big shout out before we go to the stream MVPs. So first BMO for obviously, you know, sponsoring the prize pool for this tournament. Big shout out to them, and also big shout out to our observer today, Kristen. Yeah, you know, the whole thing. Me and Max, all we do is we just, you know, talk and watch the game and yap, but really hard work's being done behind the scenes. You know, for us, we have the easy job. So shout out to really the whole UTES Sports production staff and you know, our president Kirsten, but also especially Kristen, obs for today. Yeah, I've been Chris. This has also been Max, Adam as well, briefly joining the stream. Yeah, and we'll be back. We'll let you know when we have grand final scheduled, but we'll be back. Well, I won't be back casting grand finals. I'll be playing.
He'll be in the grand finals, guys.
I'll be in the stream. When we do our grand finals, see who gets that prize pool provided by BMO. Yeah, it's been a fun game. It's been a pleasure. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.